there's these just great perspectives that are in there that a lot of people don't think about.
Yeah.
You know, you don't think about, like, when you're having an amazing day, someone's having the worst day of their life.
Right.
You know, and we don't think about that. Or a baby's born today, but guess what? Someone's baby died today. And people say that's grim, but it's the reality. Like,
It's the truth.
You got to be grateful for what you have, you know, even if it's not as much as this next person, or as much as you want, or as much as your neighbor crush, whatever it is. Like, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to Deep MCs, the podcast that seeks to push meaningful conversation to a whole new level. Whether it's for your entertainment or your personal growth, we appreciate you being here today. And now, on to the show. What's going on, man?
What's good, bro?
Man, I am still trying to recover. Still haven't got full voice functionality back. I'm still finding myself a little exhausted, honestly. To be real with you, but we are here. We are keeping the party going. This should be, I don't know what, February by the time. Hopefully by actual February, I will be.
We'll actually
better.
be good. Yeah. Still hanging on to this cough, man.
Oof, it's rough, man. Oh man, what are we getting into today, though?
Today, man, we're going to talk about finding the good in the bad.
Finding the good in the bad. Yeah. No, I think that's an important one.
Hey, man, we got bridges.
Shit. Well, damn it all to hell. I don't know. I was just trying to
flipping. I started rolling.
This is. Hey, we might as well keep this in here because this right here is finding the good in the bad. Is what it is.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. It is what it is.
And there we go. We're back to it.
See, finding the good and the bad. It give us a break. It lets you get some water for your cough.
Right.
I
start hacking over here.
Yeah, I would say start over, but no, because we're talking about finding the good and the bad. So we're just gonna
roll with it.
Let it go. I don't know what happened. People that see it on YouTube, they'll get to see some of I took those pictures back in my photography days when I was trying to be.
Oh, so those were your actual pictures?
Yeah.
I thought those were screensavers on the TV. But
no, those are my actual. I took those.
See how you learn something new every day.
So I did a lot of landscape, but so if you're watching the YouTube, you can go see a couple of the shots flick by. But yeah, finding the good and the bad, man. I think it's really important, especially with everything that's been happening, everything that's been going on lately. We're here in a new year. And I personally just want to try to make it my mission to try to help people see things in a new light.
Yeah.
To try to help people around me see the positive things, to try to help the people, you know, out here that are watching us, that are listening to us, to just kind of look from a different perspective and say, hey, you know, this happened, but it's really not that bad.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
And I know that it's hard, and it's one of those situations where I feel that, you know, people say, well, you're not dealing with it right now, so like you don't know. And they're right to a certain extent. Like, it's always more difficult when you're in the situation.
You're fully in it. Yeah, of course.
It's always easy to Monday morning quarterback, right. You know,
what they say, 20/20 hindsight.
Yes, exactly.
Vision, right?
You know exactly what you should do. But and I struggled with it, especially when I was younger and things like that. But as I'm going on this journey with myself, now I make it like my personal mission. The first thing I do is I try to find the good in the bad situation that I'm dealing with.
Got you.
You know,
yeah.
I want to find at least one good thing before I start worrying about everything else, because everything else does need to be worried about. I'm not going to say that it doesn't, but you don't have to dwell on it.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
You know,
man, there's a scripture that I was reminded of. It says, sufficient for the day are the evils thereof, which means today, let's figure out today. Right. I think a lot of the things that we run into, we're worried about next week. We're worried about 2 months from now. We're worried about what next year is going to look like, right? And if we would focus on today, let's focus on today. let's find the good in today. And then we're not as bombarded about what tomorrow will bring. Right. Because then we've built something on today that could maybe help us see tomorrow a little differently.
No, for sure. You hit something on the head though too, and I don't know, maybe this sidetracks the conversation a little bit, but the people's focus on things, when we talk about, like, you know, we're worried about next week, we're worried about next year, we're worried about whatever, but then also, like, it's like the focus on today, and it's just weird because I guess if you spend enough time, you can find, like I said, we can find an argument for anything out there. You can find words to justify anything, and I think that it's hard for people to separate those. And I think, like we've talked about in prior episodes, where there's a dramatic swing from one side to the other, and you do have a lot of those people that they're worried about next week and not focusing on what's in front of them. They're worried about next year, but then you also have the people that are, their definition of focus on today means go crazy and do everything you possibly can, right? With kids were YOLOing, right, at one time, whatever the hell it was, right, where you're only focusing on, like, well, hell, like, who cares, tomorrow's not promised, so I'm gonna blow everything today. And it's not about that either. It's about finding, you know, the best in the day. Doesn't necessarily mean go crazy, right? And I think that a lot of people don't understand that, or they overthink that and think it means a drastic, you know, left or right, one side or the other.
Yeah, man. In a previous recent podcast, we talked about, you know, do we have fun anymore? Right. You know, do we enjoy life anymore? Yes. You know, those things that we used to do, kind of just the reckless abandonment as kids, right?
Yes.
And just kind of just jump out there and do whatever you're gonna do, with kind of this freedom for life. And I think sometimes we get so locked down into the day-to-day mundane. I got to pay this bill. I got to get this done. I got to get to the job. I got to do this, that, the third, that we lose sight of what's the good thing in this, right? Why am I doing this? What is my reasoning behind doing all of this? Is because I want to see my family at this level, or I want to see, you know, I want to move to this level in the job, but where's the good in it, right? Because if it's all a bore, if it's all a burden, then now you've just stressed yourself completely out with something you said you really wanted to do, or that was a goal for you, right? And the thing, man, that I've tried to is to keep things in perspective, right? I have a degree in architecture. Right. So one of the first drawings that we had to do in 101 is the 2-point perspective, where you had to, you know, you had that draw the horizon line, draw your center line, and then draw your points, you know, and then everything goes back to those points. Right. And anything outside of those points is out of context. And so many times I think we put so many things out of context that if we would keep it within the perspective, if we would keep it within the drawing of our life, the drawing of our day, it wouldn't burden us as much. Right.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that 100%, you know, and I don't know. Like I said, I guess it is a situation. Maybe the real problem is controlling the mind, I guess, right? Because we say these things and then people are like, well, but you don't understand. Yeah. And you're right. We don't understand. Then I guess I want everybody that's watching, everybody that's listening to understand, like, no, we don't know exactly what you're going through. And this isn't about trying to tell you you're doing everything wrong.
Right.
You know, but
or trying to pass it off as if it's not important.
If it's not important, because it is important, but we just want them to have a better understanding. And like you said, it's about perspective, and it's about putting things into perspective, and perspective is a huge thing. It changes the way you look at everything, you know? And not everything, as bad as it may seem, not everything is always a negative. There are negative things. There are, you know, negative situations, negative people, negative whatever. And if you choose to stay in those situations, then it's going to continue producing negative whatevers, right? But you can work around that, and you can change that scenario, and you can change, and out of that good things come.
Yeah.
You know, and not just that, I guess, I don't know. For me, like I said, like it's interesting when I think about, and how, like, even when we were talking about, you know, just having fun in the day or having fun in life or whatever, and that episode that we did, I also think about the times that, like, some of my best stories, and I think, you know, a lot of people see it, and they come from shitty situations.
Right.
Yeah. You know, or when you're watching the movie, you know, nobody wants to watch, or not, I'm saying nobody wants to watch. People don't generally enjoy the movie where the person gets everything all the time right from the beginning, right? Like, there's this ebb and flow. Yeah. You know, you have this
of success and loss.
and then you hit the bottom
and failure.
And then you see them succeed. And from the bad comes this good thing, and that's what people gravitate to.
Did you ever watch The Pursuit of Happiness?
No,
you didn't. and I say that is because that's the kind of storyline. It's this ebb and flow of good and bad. And I see that look on your face. I got it.
It's Will Smith, man.
But it's this ebb and flow of exactly what you just.
Yeah, but that's what they like, right? And
right.
that, I mean, and a lot of movies follow that they follow that line because people want that. But for whatever reason, when people live it, they don't think that way. Yeah, you want to see it, but you don't understand, like, that is what life is. It ebbs and flows. There's gonna be, it doesn't matter how much money you have or your stature or whatever, you're gonna have ups and you're gonna have downs. And yeah, having more money or having whatever, like, sometimes that makes those downs easier. But the struggle is what makes it real and makes it successful, and we have to look at those things, you know, and that pertains to everything that's going on in life, you know. Even now we talk about, like, we had talked about resolutions and we talked about things of that nature, and, you know, we talk about getting in shape, right? That struggle, that pain of working out, the physical pain, the mental pain, the exhaustion, that struggle produces great rewards when you continue and you keep working down the line. You know, I think about too, like, even for me, a lot of the times, like, one of the times I was living in my car was when I came to Texas and I was trying to get stuff situated here, you know. And I remember moving. So when I came, you know, I've always been, well, not anymore because I'm old for whatever reason. I don't know what happens when you get old. You be more cautious, and maybe I need to change that. But I would always make my decisions like, boom, I made the decision. Like, there's no, like, I'm going to sit on it for 2 months or whatever, especially if I'm needed, especially if I need to do something. Like, I'm just going to go. So I remember when I made the decision to come to Texas, like, from the time I said I'm leaving to the time I was rolling through, like, less than a week.
Got it.
Right? And that's a lot. So, you know, I packed up my little apartment. I from what I could, I had a not really a 2-seater. It was a 4-seater, 2-door Pontiac. Not going to get into the car because it's going to make me cry. I love that car. But I had packed only what would fit in my car, fit in the trunk, fit in the back seat, and fit in the front passenger. That's all that I took. Everything else I gave away. Okay. Didn't sell it, didn't nothing. I just called my friends, whatever. Do you want this? You want that? Whatever. Gave everything away. I went, took my car to get it serviced, make sure everything was going to be right because I'm about to hit the road. And it's so on this Pontiac, they had a fuel pump and a delivery system, but this was like all one piece. And please, everybody out there watching and listening, I know the story's long, but just bear with me. It was a one-piece delivery system. And on the top of the tank, it had a little plastic elbow that turned into whatever the pipe was to go to wherever the fuel goes, whatever, right? So when that part had to be replaced because I had a check engine light. So they dropped it, they replaced it. They did it all in a day for me because they knew that I was leaving the next morning. So when they rushed this process, they ended up cracking that plastic piece that was on the top. So what was happening was when I was driving, gas was flowing to the engine where it needed to go, but it was also leaking out on top of the gas tank, and then it would get, basically those fumes would come in the car. So I was getting high as hell driving from Florida to Texas, but that was a problem. And then when you would stop, it would spill over, and then you'd have little puddles of gas under your car and everything else, whatever. Sorry, environmental people. But anyway, so I was smelling gas every time I turned the car on, every time I drive, every time I shut the car off. You're just always smelling gas. That gets nauseating after a while. So when I moved here to Texas, I ended up moving. I didn't have a lot of money. Like, and when I say I didn't have a lot of money, I mean, you know, most of the world lives paycheck to paycheck. I was like paycheck to payday loan to paycheck.
Yeah, I got you.
I was pretty broke. You know, I barely had the gas money to get here. So I moved to Texas, and I didn't have any money, and I was like, I need to situate whatever, because we had everything else that was happening. I was like, I need to get, you know, figure out what I'm going to do with my life, get my shit together, get a place. I got a lot good and ready to happen. And I moved on at the time, which, you know, has now been surpassed, but at the time was the coldest winters that Texas has ever had. So it was getting down to like 30, 31, 28, you know, whatever. It was getting cold. I couldn't get a hotel. I couldn't afford a hotel.
Yeah.
So what I would do is I would find, and I remember the very first place when I came, it was a La Quinta. It was right here, actually. Well, I don't want to tell people where I live, but it was off of I-10, not too far from our current location.
Yeah. It's
not La Quinta anymore, but it was a La Quinta. And I went in there, and I would tell them, you know, because you gotta lie a little bit, but I was like, hey, I'm having an issue with my car. It's leaking some whatever. And because it was, I said, do you mind if I could just like park my car behind the thing and I can have someone get it the next day, right?
Yeah.
And they would say yes. So I would do this I'd move my car around from hotel to hotel, and I was sleeping in my car behind the hotels. Freezing cold. I've only lived in warm climates. I've never owned a jacket. Gotcha. I only had shorts. Yeah. There was no blankets, and my car was so packed I couldn't even lean my seat back, like front seat back. Yeah. So I'm trying to sleep sitting up in a packed car that reeks of gas fumes, 28 degrees outside. I can't afford to run the car because I can't afford gas to put in there, and I'm literally shivering.
Poison yourself anyway.
It's pretty much. And I was just sit there and I would just completely shiver myself to sleep if I could sleep, right? And you wouldn't get a lot of sleep, but I did this. And then people would, I tell this story and people ask me, well, where would you go to the bathroom? I would piss in a bottle and leave it in the back. And if I had to, whatever else, I would drive to a Walmart or something, or whatever, and I live that way, looking for work and doing everything for, over a month.
Okay.
And then if I was able to get a job interview, then that's the night I'd get the hotel and I would like wash up, gotta wash the balls and everything. But I wouldn't shower because I couldn't. There's no place for me to go, and that's what I would do. And it was miserable. And it got to a point, I remember I had a blog at the time. And the reason why I had a blog was because like my mom wanted to know where I was.
Okay.
And like what I was doing.
Okay.
So like if I had this blog, she could like log on and know that,
this kind of passive,
this is where he is,
response of where he is.
Yeah.
Where's Waldo?
This is where he is. This is kind of what, whatever. And so like I would go, I couldn't even really afford to buy drinks at Starbucks. So I'd park close enough to Starbucks to get Wi-Fi.
Okay.
So that I could post the blog, let my mom know I'm still alive, because she knows I'm sleeping in the car, and that's just what I did from day to day. And it's just like those stories, like it was miserable. And I got to the point where I was like, what, am I even going to make it? Am I going to be able to do this? Like I have nothing at all. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't have anywhere to go. Even if I had somewhere to go, I probably didn't have the gas money to make it.
Yeah.
No one could help me.
There was something I think the thing that I love about this story, okay? the part that I love about this story is that you made a decision. Clear, there was something in Florida that wasn't benefiting you, right? That wasn't that clearly wasn't working for you, right? And you owned what the next step was going to be. You didn't know exactly how it was going to turn out.
Nope.
And some of it may have been even a little reckless, but at the end of the day, you put your car in drive and you drove, right?
Did it.
And I love the tenacity of that, right? The ability to be able to make a decision and deal with whatever comes with that decision, right?
Yeah.
And so you dealt with the decision, and now, I mean, you can look back, of course, and say, that was the worst area of my life, worst time of my life, and it may have been, right? Check one of them off.
I wouldn't say worst, but yeah,
it was it sucked pretty good.
Yeah, it was terrible.
And so, but look at it today. I think you learned. You learned from the situation, but prior, you pulling the trigger on that was like, man, where's that dude?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the key to this for me is, we hear the story because we all have them, right?
Yeah.
But where are those people that decided when I'm going to make a decision, I'm going to make a decision? You pulled the trigger and then you followed through with whatever what came of your decision, right?
Yeah, no.
You wasn't belly aching. You wasn't whining. Yeah, it was cold and you were shivering.
I might have been whining
just a little bit, right?
Some of them nights, man. Some of them nights
fun, right?
when it's 27 degrees and you gotta crack open a half-filled bottle of cold piss because you gotta take a leak.
I got you.
And that smell is horrendous. If anyone's ever bottled piss, the smell is horrendous. But yeah, I mean that's the thing is, but in that time and in making that decision, that I look at it and I was like, that was terrible. That was a bad time. And I had a lot of days and a lot of nights where I questioned if I made a mistake, where I questioned,
right.
Is this the wrong? And I thought about all these bad things, and most people would look at that and they say, well, these bad things, bad. Well, why'd you do this, that, or the other, blah, blah, blah. But from that, I was able to help my mother out, through her sickness. Our relationship was better. I got better job. I ended up, eventually in better jobs where I made more money than I was making before. I was able to get a place. I was able to get a house. I was able to do all these things. None of those things would have happened if I stayed
in Florida
where I was. It wouldn't. It would not have happened for me.
Right.
And so that's just why I say that, because people think, well, these negative things are happening, these bad things are happening, what good can come of it? Like, there are good things there. Just because something is bad, doesn't mean that it's not gonna have a brighter side for you or whatever the situation may be.
It's all part of the journey, man. And that's that. No, I wasn't homeless, but in a very similar situation when I had to turn in a badge and uniforms and didn't know really, I have a family that I got to take care of. And I made a decision then that, man, I'm not putting my life in anyone else's hands at this point, right? I'm going to take responsibility for my what I'm going to make and how I'm going to make it. And if I don't make it, then it's on me, right? If I don't clock in, then that's my fault, right? And didn't go back to a normal 9 to 5. Now, have I had to make some changes and some adjustments and has it been challenging? Yes.
Of course.
But I wouldn't be able to sit here and do the things we're doing and interact the way we react if I had gone back to a normal 9 to 5 to the safe place, right?
Yeah.
And because the safe place would have had me working this rat race, and through all of COVID, through all of the, the layoffs and the furloughs and all of that, I was like, I didn't have that stress, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have that stress, which was not. I'm going back and thinking about it.
is nice.
I didn't have that stress, right?
Yeah.
And that's a blessing, man.
It is.
That's a blessing. I didn't have that stress, but that happened. The only way that happened is because I was uncomfortable over here.
Yeah.
And I decided to make a decision, and I'm going to live with whatever the decisions are of that. And if I keep it in perspective, it has been the best thing that could have happened to me.
No, 100%, man. 100%. And that train of thought, right? That mind frame is what this is all about. And seeing that, you know, I think that we all too often we just look at the negative that's in front of us right now, and we don't extrapolate that. That's a big word.
Yeah, that's a good one.
College word.
That's
right
nice
there.
right there.
Ooh, no degree dropping college words on them. We extrapolate that out, and you know, we don't do that, and we need to, because if people really look, a lot of their successes, there usually was a struggle that would precede that, or a negative thing that would precede that. And you need to be grateful for those things, you know, and you know, like my grandma, you know, the one that passed, whatever, but she would always tell me, you know, just be thankful for everything, right? Like, it may not be the best situation, but be thankful for it, you know, because there's always something to learn. You know, there's always something to see, there's always something to do. And even if you learn something from that negative situation or that negative whatever, like, that's still a positive thing, you know, because you're not going to repeat it. You know, you've got this knowledge now that, hey, this is what happens when you do this, and you can share that and everything else. And it helps so much. And I just think that not a lot of people are thankful for, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, they say, like, excuse me, it could always be worse. And I find myself, like, I try to look for situations, where it could be worse, and it sounds like a doom and gloom type situation, but it makes me more thankful for what I do have, you know. And I think about, you know, okay, well, money may be tight, you know, like, money may be tight. Everybody's like, oh, I need to make more money or whatever. Like, money may be tight right now, but guess what? Like, you're not living in the street.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you're living in the street, you know? Okay, well, you know, you're not dead.
Yeah.
You know, you can bounce back, you know, or whatever the situation may be. And it's funny, like, I don't know, I feel like I've referenced this in a previous podcast episode. Maybe I haven't, I don't know, whatever. A lot of people are probably gonna shit on me for this, but Dave Matthews Band, not the greatest music ever or whatever, but they always had this one song that I did like, and I forget the name of it. I think it's called, like, Funny the Way It Is or whatever. But at the end of the day, like, the song isn't the greatest song ever, but it was a perspective thing. And so basically, long story short, like, he starts out the song talking about, like, you know, he's in the park, you know, it's a beautiful day and the sun is shining and kids are playing and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden he sees this, like, bunch of fire trucks, you know, rushing by him, right? And he's like, you see these fire trucks, and it's just crazy because on this, you know, like, on this beautiful day, somebody's losing their house and losing their livelihood, right? You know, and he talks about, you know, you have one kid walks 10 miles to school and one kid's dropping out of school, you know? So, like, there's these just great perspectives that are in there that a lot of people don't think about.
Yeah.
You know, you don't think about, like, when you're having an amazing day, someone's having the worst day of their life.
Right.
You know, and we don't think about that. Or a baby's born today, but guess what? Someone's baby died today. And people say that's grim, but it's the reality. Like,
It's the truth.
You got to be grateful for what you have, you know, even if it's not as much as this next person or as much as you want or as much as your neighbor across, whatever it is. Like, someone is losing everything that you have and would give anything to be able to have what you have.
Yeah.
And people don't really think
What's
about
sufficient for the day, man? I mean, you know, what is enough for the day? You know, and
that's a good question.
And I think we get so caught up in I need more, I want more, it has to be more, that I just don't take the graces of today and just be excited about those. Give thanks for today, right?
Yeah.
Because if just this opportunity for us to sit here and do what we're doing, there's a grace in that. I'm thankful for this opportunity because it could have been completely a different way. Just a couple weeks ago for both you and I.
Yeah.
Right? Something could have went completely different.
Completely off the rails.
Right?
Yeah.
And so the fact that you and I are able to sit here, in our studio,
hey, and have this conversation.
Have this meaningful conversation
is huge.
It's huge. It's huge. And yes, this may just be the highlight of my day. And I'm excited about it because it's an opportunity for me to share, sit down and have a conversation with people who are interested in what we're talking about and give a different perspective on creating some joy, drumming up some joy, some thankfulness, some excitement in your life, even in the place of turmoil, even in a place of uncertainty. Is there more? Is there more?
Yeah. And I mean, all of that is just, it's perfect, man. And like I said, to have life is an amazing thing.
Yeah.
And I think that we downplay that so much, and that's why, like, for me, like, and I know there's people out there that would probably agree, like, honestly, man, like, the best times of my life, even though there was a lot of shitty times, but like the best times of my life was when I had nothing.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Like when I had nothing, when I was broke and eating ramen noodles and like really struggling, like those were the best times of my life because like I enjoyed life. Because you don't have money, you have to hang out more and you have more conversations, or you want to just come and kick it, or you want to
You're not stuck on a laptop watching YouTube videos.
You're not. Do you want to?
You can watch this one though. You can.
Please watch this one and like it and subscribe it and make a comment
and share it
because it does help us. Please do that. But you weren't doing those things. I could go outside. I could go walk the beach. I could go do whatever. Like. Those were the best times, and I was so, and when I did get a little bit, when someone did kick me a little bit of money, or I was able to get a side job or whatever it was, I was so grateful. Yeah. I was so, man, like there was times when like I could get a side job that would just give me like $20. And I was like, oh shit.
You had made it.
$20. Yeah. Do you know what I can do with $20?
Right.
$20, I'm going to go to Blockbuster. I'm going to rent me a movie. I'm going to go.
Oh, man. We were in college. I got to tell the story because it's crazy. We were in college, man. One of my line brothers, real good friend, great friend, actually. We was staying in this trailer over the summer, right? Yeah. And we had $5 between us. It was three of us. We only had $5 between us.
Yeah.
And we were in walking distance to this grocery store. So we tried to come together. Man, when I tell you we made a gourmet meal with that $5, it was like, yes, we got some money. Man, we went and bought buns because we bought the ones that were the day old because they were cheaper. Right? Yeah. We bought a pack of hot dogs. What else? We bought some eggs. So we had like 3 or 4 meals right there, right? Because we had breakfast, lunch, and then we created a dinner. Man, and then we had a bag of pasta. So we picked up a small like package of beef, of ground meat. So with the pasta, we created like some pasta over noodles. Then we had some loose meat on the hot dog buns. So we created like a little rough chili. Man, $5.
$5.
$5.
I'm telling you that. But those are good times, right? And you could tell that story.
It was great times. And we were laughing. Like, dang. Because we came back because I had left for something. And I had come back and he had created something else. And I was like, man, we just fell out laughing. Like we just stretched just $5 to no end, man. That was a great summer, man.
It was good.
That was a great summer.
But see, and the thing about that though, now if you think about it, though, when is the last time you've gone to the grocery store and made it out with spending $5? Never since that moment have I ever, because I've never been that critical, right? Anymore. I just go in, I go pick it up. I need this, I need that.
And I'm not counting, because I'm not counting that we had to feed 3 people with $5 for a couple more days until somebody's check hits.
Somebody got some money. Yeah. But that's a perfect example.
And this, hold on, I didn't tell you the big part. He had just gotten fired from Little Caesars because they said that boxes were missing. So really, from Friday, you got fired for stealing boxes on your day off.
Boxes, crazy.
Yeah.
Come on.
He was that dude. Got fired for stealing boxes on his day off.
Stealing boxes on his day off.
They blamed him for stealing pizza boxes.
Because he was going to do whatever with them. Who knows? That's ridiculous. But yeah, man. I mean, but that story there, and you hear it, but that story is a great example. I mean, you lived through it, and that's one part of it. But even then, like, how many people now are going to the grocery store and they're complaining because you got
all
a basket of food.
$5. Yeah.
You got some people have spent $100 and they're complaining because they ain't able to get this, that, or the other. And there's someone that has $5 to feed 3 people and they're making it work. Like when I see people, man, shut the. You got all 100, and 200, $300. People are trying to make it work with nothing. You know. It's crazy, man. I remember,
you know what? I think I'm gonna do a $5 challenge.
$5 challenge.
See if I could do dinner for $5 again.
You could probably do it, but you're gonna be like, dang.
Because all we had was seasoning.
Yeah.
And that bag of pasta.
But see, I love things. I love things like that because
the challenge of it, man.
It's the challenge, and it humbles you and it resets you.
Yeah.
And I find myself, one of the things that I do here now, and I've done for a while, is that like every now and then, and granted, I should do it more. I feel I should do it more, and maybe I will do it more in 2022. I do what I call a complete reset. So if people that know me, generally they know if they come to my house, I have multiples of everything. I have stacks of this and stacks of that, but every now and then, and I'm in one right now, I will let everything deplete.
Okay.
Like everything. Okay. And I'll get down to where I might only have just a can of beans in the cup, and I push myself as far as I can to utilize everything that I can eat.
Got it.
Because it keeps me humble. That's and it good, takes me back to those times because people are like, now, oh, what do you want? Yeah, I don't want that. No, there was a time where I couldn't say. Yeah. No, if I had,
you took whatever you got.
Baked beans and a can of sardines, that was dinner, and you're grateful for it.
Right.
And so I do that because it helps me rebalance and reset and recheck, and not, we're getting low on this, I can go, because that's a convenience. Yeah. And that becomes more convenient the more money you get, and then the more money you get a little more spoiled, because I feel like having a steak. I feel like having you know how many times, where like there was times growing up where dinner literally was just a couple saltines and peanut butter. I didn't die.
I've had those, peanut butter cracker sandwiches, where you would put the peanut butter in. We had a little bit of jelly or some honey, and you make you a little cracker sandwich. Dry your whole throat out. Because you got peanut butter with a cracker.
Yeah, with a dry ass saltine. You know what I'm saying? But you didn't die.
Oh, man. And no, far from it.
You far from it. And you live and you can have those stories. But yeah, man, I do that. I'll deplete everything.
That's great.
And I won't go to the store until I ate everything.
Till everything's
all the
gone.
Sardines is gone. The cans, I'll be eating dry tuna out of a can. And people, the people that really see me do it, they'll ask, well, why do you do that? And I tell them, because I want to stay humble. I want to stay humble.
That's good, man. I like the thoughtfulness of that. The the approach of that is honorable. I like it.
I mean, I try, man.
And plus, I know you're not looking for accolades.
No, not at all.
But
not at all.
The thoughtfulness from it, the considerations that you're making, based on a life you've previously had to live.
Yeah.
Now, deciding to, remember in this kind of very intentional way, I think is important, man. And sometimes we forget, that it was just a few short years ago.
Wasn't that long ago you were struggling.
And the fact that life could change in a moment's notice.
And you go right back to that.
You can go back to that. I mean, we talk about, how we have securities over here and safety, savings accounts over here and whatever. Now, and in a moment's notice, all of that stuff can change.
Could be gone.
And if you don't have the resiliency of those situations, or even those situations to fall back on and be like, okay, I was here before, I can make it again. If you don't have the resiliency, that's when you crack up.
That's when you crack up. And I think about it too. And I want everybody to think about it. I want everybody to think about it, because we didn't talk about this situation. And I know this is just one situation, and we're sharing our stories of not having food. But think about how much food do you throw out because it's gone bad?
Yeah, right.
You check the refrigerator, and it's expired. You're throwing away canned goods that have a 3-year shelf life that's expired. Like
they've sat there for 3 years.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
When someone would kill. Someone would kill for that can of beans you just threw away.
I know a lot of people that, no, I don't do leftovers. Okay.
Oh, I can't.
That's a preference.
I can't stand them people. If you're one of the people out there, I'm so sorry.
That's a preference, right? I don't do leftovers. After the one day, if it's gone, then, and it's just, there are people that would kill for leftovers.
Oh, yeah.
And I know we can make decisions, and I know we have our choices,
right.
And I get all of that. But when it comes down to that, man, that people want the leftovers, man.
They do, and that's where the appreciation comes in, and that's where being grateful comes in. Like, and people always say, like you said, those type of people like, well, why should I have to do? Why should I? Clearly, you don't appreciate then if you feel like, why should I have to do something? Because there's people out there that would love to get to that level, and maybe you never had to really struggle. Maybe you never had to do whatever, but still walk in the shoes, right? They say walk a mile in their shoes and see what it's really like, and like you said, like those times of being broke. Like, I mean, I remember, with my friend, when I was living with my friend, when I got booted out the house, we would wait until 29 cent or was it 29 cent hamburger, 39 cent cheeseburger. When McDonald's are doing that, I don't know if they did it here in Texas, but in California.
No, I was in Louisiana, so I don't remember that.
Well, in California, McDonald's had this thing where you can get a hamburger for 29 cents and a cheeseburger for 39 cents. And we were so broke, like we would literally scrap up change. So basically you get like 20 burgers for like $7 or whatever it was at the time, do the math. And we would scrap up all of our change, and we would literally pay with a handful. We'd pick up quarters on the ground. We'd find whatever we find. And then that one day would come around and we would get 20 burgers, and then we would divide those burgers up. And if you were lucky, you could find extra money, you could get some cheeseburgers. And we would divide those up where you had one in the morning and you had one at night. Yeah. And we ate that one bat stale, be in the refrigerator, turning hard, buns getting crusty. But that was
it. That's week. What you had.
That was the week. That was what we could afford, and that's the best that we could do. And if it got real slim, we would cut them in half and share them if we were hungry or whatever it was. And we were just grateful and so like, you don't understand the happiness when you could go through and get this bag of 20 burgers.
You had accomplished something.
We were like, oh. And then I see these kids that are crying because I don't want that. Yeah, I don't want that.
Right. Yeah.
If that,
right.
If that was my kid, if that was my kid, you don't want, it don't got the toy I wanted or whatever it is, or people eat McDonald's is just a regular go-to, you know, or whatever. Like,
so we've put a whole lot of, based on that, right? We've put a whole lot of emphasis on things and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And have forgotten, you know, kind of the gratefulness that we should experience in just the day-to-day accomplishments, right?
Yes.
And so a bag of 20 hamburgers at, you know, 29 cent, 24 cent each, you know what I'm saying, was a great accomplishment because one, you had to work to find the change.
Work to find the change.
You worked to find the change. You pulled the change together. Y'all worked together as a team.
Yep.
You came together and boom, and then you worked through that thing as a team, right?
Yeah.
And so it talks a lot about having a support system.
Yep.
Right? Who's willing to pick up change with you.
Yep.
You know, this is the relationship talk now.
Yeah.
Somebody who's willing to kind of through the worst of times help you pick up change, and then you all share a broken down burger.
Down. Yeah, and we would go. It's funny. I know I'm telling. We're going long, but we would go to the Indian reservation casinos because people would spend the money and walk out and drop change.
Yeah,
and then sometimes they'd have the little tickets that had 25 cents on it that they didn't want. We go collect that,
gotcha.
Put it in there, collect it. We do all kind of hustles, and then we also had, if California people are listening, AM PM, which was like a convenience store. It's like a 7-Eleven or whatever. Right. And we had a hookup, my boy, when I was staying with Donald, shout out Donald, but we had a hookup there where we would go and he would give us all the stale food they're going to throw away.
Okay.
And even that, some people would turn their nose up at that.
Right.
But when you're struggling and you don't got a meal.
Look at the creativity of the hustle. Right?
Yeah.
For me, I mean, it forces you to think in a more productive way.
No,
right?
For sure.
Because when you know you had the money, then you don't even have to think about it
at all.
You just walk in and you pick up what you want, right?
Yeah.
But when you have to ration out, you know, how you're going to pay for this and how you're going to get that, you have to get creative.
Yeah, you do.
Right? And you have to get things that's going to match. Right?
Yep.
Stuff that I can use it here for this, I can use it here for this, and I can also use it here for this.
That's right.
Right? And that creativity, it fuels something in you, right? It fuels a drive, it fuels a level of accomplishment when you be like, yeah, we got these 20 hamburgers.
We good to go.
You know, we good to go. and we got it from hustling this 25-cent ticket and that 25-cent ticket and picking up this and that stuff that people would discard. You pick it up and you make a living out of it. Man, that's what we're missing. I think that's what we're missing.
Yeah.
You know, we've gotten so caught up in this day-to-day, you know, accomplishment of this next thing that I got to pay for or got to get, or I got to get the bigger car. I got to get the bigger house. I got to have more of this and more of that. And, you know, people are coming over. So I have to show that I'm doing this in my life. Right.
Right.
And we forgot about the hustle of the hard times because that's where we find ourselves accomplished the most.
Exactly. That's it, man. Let's leave it there, man. Life is not bad. Find the good in the bad.
Yeah.
Be grateful for what you have.
That's it, bro. You did it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm ready to play now. Put me in the game now. I came here to prove it. I'm ready to
Hey. So don't forget, we need you to like, comment, and subscribe. All of the social media handles, everything you need is right there on the screen.
Yes. We appreciate you guys for listening. Hope you enjoyed the show.